Hey guys, welcome to the Life of Lex, a podcast where I'm doing it for the culture. I'm your host, Alex or Lex. Thank you for listening. So, if you guys didn't notice, I changed my intro, and you'll notice at the outro that I changed my music. I also changed the cover art to this podcast. So, I hope you guys like it. I hope it's a good change for you guys. I'm really excited. Honestly, this is the third time this morning I've tried to start recording, and so hopefully we get through this one smoothly. Welcome to the podcast where we change our intro and outro music and we record even when the odds are stacked against us. So this podcast almost didn't happen because I broke my RSS feed last night. The show wasn't on iTunes for a while. There was just a lot of shenanigans. Basically, Apple sent an email earlier this week saying that they're not going to be supporting hosting anymore for non-secure RSS feeds later this year. And I've been hosting my podcast on SoundCloud, which, to be honest, I was already planning to migrate my podcast RSS from SoundCloud to Libsyn because Libsyn is actually meant for podcasters. It's a much more secure and safe place to host a podcast. It's much more like professional, I guess is the word that I'm looking for, but not really. And I've been meaning to do that for a while. So I was actually kind of happy that iTunes was like, yeah, we're not going to support you anymore. So I was basically forced to do it. So last night I tried to do the migration to Libsyn, but it actually turns out that they have to kind of migrate my episodes for me over to SoundCloud, from SoundCloud to Libsyn. So I ended up accidentally breaking my RSS feed for a little while, but everything is good. Everything is back. And I am going to be doing an episode today. I was about to not do an episode because I was like, maybe I'll just wait for the migration and then do an episode next week. But then I was like, you know what? Nah. I'm going to do an episode because every week we're here for the culture. Okay, guys? We're here. So, yes, for anybody else who has a podcast, you should definitely be mindful of that. If you are hosting your RSS on SoundCloud, you might really want to try looking into another one. Libsyn, Blubbery are good ones. Audio Boom, I believe, is one. There's a lot of different ones. Actually, in the email that Apple sent, they give you a list of their hosting partners, and you can pick from one of those, and there is a ton. So, other than that, I hope you guys are having a really good week. I've just been chilling probably isn't the word, more so taking my summer classes and just kind of actually doing a lot, but like inside the house. It's weird because my days have still been really full, but I just haven't been going like outside, which I'm actually cool with because I do not bang with 80-degree weather, walking down the street and already being sweaty. Like, I'm just not with it. Like, I'm good being inside the house. Other semi-boring podcast updates, but you should still listen to them because everything I say is interesting. Duh. First off, thank you so much for everybody who has been listening, who has been coming back every week. Thank you for my consistent listeners. Thank you to anyone who has promoted a post. Thank you to anyone who's given me feedback. I really do appreciate all of this. It really does help me when doing this podcast. This is definitely a passion project, and so putting myself out there has definitely been interesting. As you guys know, of course, I'm not making any money off of this right now, or I may never make money out of it. That's why I say it's a passion project. It's not a business venture quite yet, at least. And so to get the reception that I've been getting has been amazing. In the first month of listening to the podcast, this podcast has actually been around for 2 months now, but within the first month of listening, there had been over 1,000 listeners, which is, bigger shows, I understand, get that 20 times that in literally a week, in a day even. But for a brand new podcast that has no backing other than me promoting it and you guys promoting it, if you like it, I have definitely been astonished at the amount of people that have listened. And obviously, of course, not all that, obviously not everybody that listens to the podcast is coming back. Some people listen and they're like, it's not for me. And that's fine. Not everything's for everyone. But the fact of the matter that I'm still getting a very consistent number of listeners every week, and that number is growing per week, is amazing. I also want to give a shout out to all of my international listeners because, of course, I'm here in the United States, but I've had listeners as far as Korea, which is insane if you ask me. So I do want to say hello to you guys. I've had listeners from Barbados, Spain, the Maldives, the UK. Those are just a few that are off the top of my head, but there has been more. Rwanda. Like, hello. Hi, guys. I can't believe that you guys are listening to my little podcast. That's crazy. So, shout out to that. Shout out to my international listeners. I love you guys. I am so glad that people outside the US are checking this out and think it's interesting enough. So with that being said, I would love it if you please could, number one, subscribe on your platform of choice. Right now, I have the podcast on SoundCloud, Google Play, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, not Apple Music. I'll talk about that in 1 second. Apple Podcasts and Stitcher, as well as TuneIn and a few other pod catchers out there. So anything that grabs an RSS feed, you could probably find my podcast on. I will say that I am planning to host the podcast on Libsyn, which means you will be able to listen directly through Libsyn. And potentially, I'm being honest, guys, I may not be uploading every episode to SoundCloud anymore. If I'm keeping it a stack, which I said I would do on this podcast, I'm keeping it 100% real. It's a lot to host it on both platforms, and I have to pay for both of them, and that's kind of a lot of money per month combined with other monthly expenses. So the podcast may not be on SoundCloud anymore once I get everything established with Libsyn. We're going to see how that works out. So for my SoundCloud listeners, that's why I have been trying to kind of wean you guys off of listening on SoundCloud. I know that it's easy, but if you do really like the podcast, I would highly recommend, if you have an iPhone, to listen through the Podcasts app. It's an Apple app. It is free. You do not have to pay for anything. You do not need to have an Apple Music subscription. This is not through Apple Music at all. It is through the Apple Podcasts app. All you have to do is, it should already be on your phone, but it is one of those ones you can delete. So if you have deleted it, you can just go right back to the Apple Store, download it, and then if you search the Life of Lex podcast and hit subscribe, you will never miss when I get an episode out. And also, you will have no problems when I probably slowly decide not to put the episodes on SoundCloud anymore. We'll see, but I just want to give you guys a heads up if you are an avid listener and you listen on SoundCloud. For my Android listeners, you guys can listen on Google Play. They do have a podcast app. I'm not really sure too much about that as I don't have an Android. Also, though, Stitcher exists as well, which is another good place to listen to the podcast. And once I get it on Libsyn, I'm also going to be able to get it on iHeartRadio and Spotify in the future. So those will be 2 more platforms. So definitely once I have it on Spotify and iHeartRadio, I'm probably not going to be uploading to SoundCloud anymore. Let me know your feedback on that though, because if like a lot of you guys are like, I love SoundCloud, then I will try my hardest to keep it around. But if it's possible that you guys would be able to listen maybe on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or Google Play, that would be much better, as well through like a direct Libsyn link. That would be great because, like I said, as of right now, it's just going to be a lot of money to host it on multiple platforms. And yeah, just keeping it a stack, guys. I'm a college student. I'm going to have loans to pay. I have other monthly expenses to pay. So it's just a lot. But yes, please rate and review the podcast. It does help me. Please keep your feedback coming for those of you guys who have given me feedback through Tumblr because you don't have an iPhone. That is great. Love it. Keep it coming. If you don't have an iPhone, please give me feedback. Also, I am planning to do a Q&A podcast. I want to try to get that done. Not next week's episode, but the following week. So I am giving you guys a couple of weeks to get in your questions. So far, I have on Tumblr gotten a lot of questions. Thank you guys so much. I do want to get some more so I can have a good variety. So I will put in the show notes, which I want to direct you guys to. You should always check the show notes out. They are at the bottom, and there I give a synopsis of what I'm talking about, as well as links to different things I may reference, and also all of my social media contact info is down there. So even if you don't have a Tumblr account, you can still access my Tumblr ask box to be able to submit questions for the Q&A. So please, please, please make sure to check that out. You don't have to have a Tumblr account. You could still submit a question. If you'd like me to like shout your name out or something, just leave your name in the question. Say, hi, my name is blank. I'm just submitting this question for the podcast, and ask your question. And it could be about anything, legitimately anything. The only things I won't answer are things like, what school do you go to? What town do you live in? You know, like extra personal stuff, like location wise. But other than that, I think I will pretty much answer anything else. So keep the questions coming. Yeah. So that's all the beginning stuff I have to say. Thanks if you listened through all of that. Now we can get into the show after a quick pause. Okay, so this week we talking about how y'all don't like dark skin anyways, and we'll talk about that in the second half of the show. Of course, you know now I'm about to give my hot takes on things that have gone on this week. So, first of all, y'all man's JR, like okay, I'm suddenly a basketball fan. I do not like sports. If you know me, you know I do not like sports. I do not watch sports. I do not get sports. I don't care about sports. But it was hilarious. Y'all man's JR was like befuddled. I think like Mans was like, where LeBron at? He was like, where LeBron at? Like, Mans had no idea what he was doing. And LeBron was over there like, this nigga, like, what is happening? Poor LeBron. He was just so salty, bruh. He was not having it. He definitely wanted to fuck that nigga up. He definitely wanted to be like, yo, listen, B. Yo, it was wild. I could not believe that. I looked at that and I was like, LeBron's face is the universal what is this nigga doing face. Like, it was crazy. And supposedly he thought they were down. No, he thought they were up a point. So he thought it was okay, which that doesn't even make sense. I don't know. I don't know anything about basketball, but I would think that even if you're up a point, shouldn't you still be trying to get up more points? But then he said in some interview that he thought it was tied, or that he knew this. Yeah, that he knew it was tied. He knew the score, and he just, I don't know, man. I don't know what was going on, but JR, that shit is hilarious. All right, let's talk about y'all man's Drake. Drake's not having a good week either. Okay, first of all, I don't know anything about the rap beef. I'm not even gonna try to pretend like I know about Pusha T and Drake's rap beef. I'm not going to act like that's my area of expertise. But what I will say is, somebody tweeted Drake, he has a whole secret baby mama. He's taking this Jamaican shit way too far, and I about fell out of my chair. You do not understand. I about just fell out. I could not handle it. When I tell you, you guys have no chill on the internet. You guys have no chill. Okay, but let's really talk about y'all man's Drake. He has a whole secret baby mama. How? Like, all right, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When I first seen her, I was like, ooh, shorty face. Ooh. But then I thought about it and I was like, okay, wait a minute. I saw some other pictures of her and she's actually not an ugly girl. She's actually, she's like a conventionally, like, she's one of those model looking white girls that people are like, oh, her beauty is so striking and unique. Like, that's, her face is the type of unique that white people think is like unique beauty. That's what her face looks like to me. When people say that a white person has unique beauty, that's what they mean. The girl, I think the picture that we all saw of her in like the little sash at the baby shower was just a bad shot, because I saw some like nice, some nice ones that were taken very well. And I just can't believe that Drake has a whole baby. But the thing about it is that like, I'm mad because the girl is getting a lot of heat. Like, she's really getting a lot of heat, even though Drake is the slimy, disgusting one here who had a whole baby and decided that he was just gonna, like, I don't know. Is he taking care of this baby? Is he like siphoning her money on the low? Like, is it one of those situations where he's taking care of everything, but he's like, hey, shut up. Like, don't say anything about this. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on here, but Drake, like, that's your man's. And then, okay, what is going on with Drake's blackface? Like, that's a mess, okay? And his explanation was so trash. He was like, well, I saw that in the media and in like television, it was harder for darker skinned people to get roles, so I dressed up as a dark skinned person. What does that even mean, Drake? Like, give us an explanation, because you're not looking real good right now. Like, your week's not going real well, sir. So, what does that mean that you wanted to try to show, like I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It's one of those garbage explanations. That's the tea, is that it's just a whole bunch of garbage. I don't know, man. Drake is just he's a, I don't know. But that's y'all, man. So yeah. Also, while we're at it, let's just talk about Kim, Kanye, and all of that. Get it out of the way real quick. All I have to say is that Kim and Kanye are fools. Kanye is a fool. Kim Kardashian looks stupid. When sis tweeted, I always ride for my man. Sis, riding for your man is telling him when he looks like an idiot. I don't care. My boyfriend, he knows I'll tell him when he's doing something that's ridiculous. I have no problem opening my mouth and being like, baby, like, you're doing this and it's not right. And I think that when it comes to friendships, relationships, I don't know, anything, like, you should be able to tell somebody when they're doing something and it is ridiculous. I'm not even going to get into the whole Rhyme Fest drama because I don't really care like that. But all I can say is that just because you're dating someone does not mean you need to defend their stupid actions. Or if you're married, in Kim's case, you just don't. I'm sorry, but like, if somebody around you is doing something stupid, you better tell them. And I hate this whole notion that like, oh, well, I'll defend them in public, but in private tell them that they look stupid. No, like, you better tell them in public. Like, I'm not saying embarrass them, but be honest. Just be like, babe, like, calm down. And apparently Kim had called Kanye and said that his comments about slavery being a choice, like, apparently in one of Kanye's songs, which I didn't listen to the song, obviously, because I'm not a Kanye fan, so why would I listen to his shit? But apparently in one of the songs he had said something like Kim called him screaming, saying they were going to lose everything. And people were just like, wow, how could she say that, instead of saying that it's just disrespectful and disgusting? And I'm like, when has Kim or her family ever cared about black people? Black people are accessories to them. Black people are prizes and trophies to them. The Kardashians never cared about black people. Kim fake pretends like she cares about black people because she has black kids. So she's like, yeah, I know my daughters and my son will have to go through that. And I'm like, okay, shut the fuck up. Sis, like, we know you don't care. Okay, that's enough talk about Kim Kardashian for the week. Apparently, Pusha T did use Whitney Houston's drug-filled bathroom for his cover art, and I'm just tired of black suffering being used as, like, art. Obviously, Whitney Houston is no longer with us from drug-related things, and the fact of the matter that black suffering, especially the suffering of black women, is always used as kind of like an aesthetic, like it's something trendy and cool, is just a problem. And apparently, Kanye was the one who suggested for him to use this. Kanye's a fucking stupid-ass coon. I'm sorry, like, I don't know how y'all like Kanye. I'm so tired of him. I wish he would be canceled forever. I wish he was just blocked and deleted from my orbit. Like, I wish I could not. Does anybody watch Black Mirror? I don't know if you guys remember that episode where there was the girl's mom who had that little tablet where she could just choose the settings to put a block mode on her daughter's eyes. I remember when she was walking past the dog, she couldn't see it because the mom turned the filter on so she couldn't see anything. I wish I had that filter for Kanye news, Kardashian news, because I don't care and I'm so tired of their stupidity. Like, they're so stupid. Like, y'all cannot tell me they are not dumb, okay? They are so dumb. But anyways, yeah, so I'm tired. Stop using black suffering as an aesthetic. Why can't, like, why would push, like, I just don't get it. Like, and everybody's like, oh, Kanye's such a genius. If you don't understand him, then blah, blah, blah. I'm like, shut up. Kanye's not a genius. He's offensive. He's rude. He's disrespectful to people. He's disrespectful of people's suffering. And I'm tired. Apparently they're making a Proud Family reboot, which I don't know if I'm happy about that. It's going to be called The Prouds, and everyone's going to be older, of course. I'm not really on the reboot bandwagon because most of them just aren't that good. I think that, Raven's Home, for instance, was one that I had good high hopes for, but it's just not as good as That's So Raven at all. The dynamic is really different and it's kind of weird. Just other reboots I haven't been a fan of, and I wish that instead of trying to bring back older shows, they would give black creatives and just creatives in general that have new, fresh ideas a chance. Every show that I've seen that is newer gets canceled after one season, and I'm like, well, you guys have to give these shows a chance. You can't just expect that it's going to make millions and boom as soon as you put it out there. Like, I feel like they need to give shows a chance instead of canceling them after one season and being like, yeah, this show's not really doing it. And then they try to bring back all these classics and all these reboots. Like, ain't nobody asking for all of that. So, The Prouds may be good, maybe not. Starbucks had their anti-bias training this week, and apparently at this training they had like people of color come forward and tell their stories about different things that happened to them regarding race. I think that Starbucks obviously was trying to do something good. I'm not going to knock them for really trying to tackle a problem, but I think the issue is that if someone's racist or has prejudice towards people of color, an anti-bias training is not going to change that. If someone is racist, they're gonna just be racist, and that's just tea. It's not going to change just because you have people of color speak about their stories. I feel like people just don't realize that that's not really the way that it works. So, in all honesty, I feel like it's a waste of time. I feel like it's kind of a not marketing, but I feel like it's kind of like a cover my back effort for Starbucks. I mean, I'll give it to them, at least they're doing something. A lot of companies sweep it under the rug and pretend like it's nothing, but I'm gonna still be at Starbucks anyways, though. So this congresswoman said that porn is driving school shootings, and I just thought it was funny because they will blame everything for school shootings but the gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll be like, yeah, it's this, it's that, but they won't realize that gun control is a real issue and needs to be taken care of. So yeah, 13 Reasons Why was canceled. Thank God. If you guys know, I have a very, very deep and strong. What's the question? What's the word I'm looking for? I have a very, very deep issue with that show. I've talked about it extensively on Tumblr. You can go back in my old personal posts and probably find it. I will try to link it in the bottom for you guys so you can hear what I have to say. I just think that show totally went about mental illness, suicide, and everything the wrong way. And legitimate experts in this field, psychologists, psychiatrists, told them, hey, don't make the show like this. Don't be showing people trigger warning right here. Trigger warning if anyone's like really serious to self-harm and suicide. Trigger warning for like the next maybe like 10 seconds or so. Just fast forward like a little tiny bit. But honestly, don't show somebody slitting their wrists in a bathtub full of their blood. Like, ooh, how is that helping anybody? I'm sorry, but that show was a mess, and I'm so glad it got canceled. Selena Gomez, fuck you, bitch. Oh my god, watch her team like sue me. All right. I'm tired of beauty brands only supporting white male makeup artists. The thing about it is that I think that beauty brands think they're so revolutionary when they are, showing a male makeup artist. But it's not coincidental that these are always white males that are shown. I feel like there's such a bias in this because there's so many black males who are doing makeup and killing it, and none of them are the face of these campaigns. And I'm tired of these beauty brands thinking they're going off with using a man when it's always a white man. Like, okay, there's a lot of black male makeup artists doing it. So I'm just saying it's not revolutionary if you're only including one race. Roseanne. Can we please talk about Roseanne? Roseanne. Okay. Sis compared Obama's former aide to an ape. She's not my sis, by the way. I say sis all the time. Sometimes I really don't mean sis. What I meant is this dumb bitch compared Obama's former aide to an ape. I was like, first and foremost, when this show Roseanne came back, because I guess this show was very popular back in the day. I do remember the show Roseanne. I never watched it, but I do remember like hearing it was on and stuff. So when this show first came back, the arc was that Roseanne is a Trump supporter. It's supposed to be satire. But the problem with having like a satirical show where Roseanne is a Trump supporter is that the real Roseanne, Roseanne Barr, I think that's her name, she's a Trump supporter and she actually really likes Trump. So the thing is, when you're having satire, but the satire is actually true, it's not really satire anymore. And she made all of these racist comments and then blamed it. You guys already probably know what happened. She compared Obama's former aide to an ape, and she got fired. Her show got pulled off the air. ABC was like, I'm gonna pull that show. ABC was like, we gonna fire that ass. We pulling that right off. Like, they was not having it at all. ABC was like, nope, that's a no for us, dog. And pretty much that's what happened. Pretty much Roseanne's show is a no. And so she blamed it on Ambien. She was saying that she was on Ambien, and the company that produces Ambien, they was like, bitch, like, racism is not a side effect of our drugs. Like, they clapped back so quick. They was like, hell no, we ain't taking the fall for this one. And it was hilarious. And listen, I am all for racist people getting fired. I am all for racist people having no jobs. I am all for racist people getting their heat. Unfortunately, I saw something that is very true, that ABC did not fire her because she's racist. ABC probably fired her because she was too racist that it was being seen by the public. Because how could you not know that she was actually a Trump supporter who thought like this? It just doesn't make sense. I just think that I can't believe I can believe it, but it's like in 2018, if you're a white person and you think it's acceptable to call a black person an ape in public, something is really wrong with you, and that's just tea. You deserve to be fired. Like, I can't. I can't deal. This is too much. This too much, bruh. All right. Oh, for all my broke bitches out there, because I'm broke, okay? Listen, we all want a little deal. We all want a little sale. You feel me? Like, we all want cheap option. Rainbow and Fashion Nova buy from the same vendors. This is some sweet, sweet tea I found out this week. And if you actually go look at Rainbow's website, a lot of their pieces are also sold at Fashion Nova. So I'm just saying, if you guys want a cheaper option to that Fashion Nova that you're paying like 30, 40 bucks for, go to rainbow.com. They even have a site, and you can find a lot of cute pieces for about a third, half to a third of the price. Just saying, we all love a good sale now. Who doesn't? So I saw this question earlier this week on social media that was saying, do men and women marry for love or convenience? And a lot of people were telling their different stories with marriage. And there was a very common theme that a lot of people, especially men, had settled for women that they knew would marry them and like take care of them basically, instead of the woman that they actually found themselves falling in love with, because they ended up letting her go at that time. And I thought this was interesting to think about, because I feel like in this generation, so many people are constantly giving that tired ass, oh my god, our parents and grandparents' generations were so good. They stayed married forever. This generation can't even keep a relationship. Blah, 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 blah. And I really just thought this was interesting, because I feel like I am the last person in the world who thinks that older generations are like relationships to look up to, because a lot of those relationships were because of convenience. A lot of those people stayed together because it was easier to stay together than it is to get divorced. A lot of these people legitimately did not have the means to live on their own, but maybe had the means to live together. A lot of these relationships stayed together through cheating, through abuse, through one person having a whole ass baby on the other person. Like, I mean, I feel like people want to idolize these relationships that older generations had, even though a lot of them are severely unhealthy and are because of convenience. And I think that this generation doesn't, relationships don't last as long, because this generation is honest. I feel like we don't just stay with somebody because we're with them. I feel like we are not afraid to turn around and be like, you treat me like shit, I'm done. And a lot of these older relationships, the woman stays silent and is quiet, and the man is the man of the house. And it's just like, you have your place, he has his place, and it's like you don't step out of your place. And I feel like with our generation, we don't have that. I feel like with our generation, women speak up. I feel like with our generation, we're not afraid to say, hey, I don't like this relationship. And while I do think, yes, our generation does kind of end things quickly rather than trying to work, I think at the same time, our generation has such a small toleration for abuse. And when I say abuse, like, I don't mean physical abuse. Obviously, get out of a relationship if you have physical abuse. But I mean just like, mental and emotional, just like, that strain. Like, our generation has such a small toleration for that, which is great, because I think we need to stand our ground and stand in our truth. But I think that it's an interesting dynamic to say, because I think that a lot of people talk about our generation being so bad at relationships, when I think in reality, our generation is just honest. Whereas older generations were not honest. They're not honest about relationships, and a lot of them stayed together just because. This also made me think of long distance relationships, because a lot of people, I'm in a long distance relationship, obviously, or if you don't know, I'm in a long distance relationship. And I think a lot of people also have a lot of stigma around that, and they say, why be with someone so far away when you could just be with someone closer? There's plenty of people out there. Why would you choose someone specifically who's not close? And I think once again, that ties back into the whole being in a relationship for convenience, being in a relationship because it's easy, because it's simple, settling because you don't have to do the work, you have someone right there. Whereas once again, I'm not in a relationship for convenience. I'm not in a relationship for ease. I'm not in a relationship because I can say that I have it. I'm in a relationship because I'm actually with someone that I love and care about. And I think that long distance is another example of not settling for convenience. People love to kind of just settle, a lot of settling. And I think that that's not really the greatest in the world. So, yeah, just thought that that was I thought that that was something interesting, and I thought it was something to really talk about. But yeah. So I get asked a lot of how I feel about Black girl unity, and do I think that Black girl unity exists. I get a lot of people who ask me how to find like a cool squad of Black girls like off of the internet, and of course, y'all know I'm not really a friend person. I always say y'all know because I feel like you might follow me on Tumblr and I talk about a lot of these topics there, but I'm not really a big friend person. In all honesty, unpopular opinion, which has anybody been on Twitter this week? Because the unpopular opinion is running rampant. But the thing is, most of these unpopular opinions are pretty popular to me. A lot of them are right on par with how I feel about a lot of things, so I don't know, but I don't think a lot of these are unpopular. But a true unpopular opinion, I think, is that Black girl unity does not exist off of the internet. Now, let me just say something. Obviously, there are situations where Black girl unity does exist off of the internet. You know, there are times where, like, maybe on an HBCU campus or maybe at some kind of event or conference, there are definitely isolated opportunities where Black girl unity does exist off the internet. But to say that Black unity is rampant and all over the place and you can just look at a Black person and you guys are now BFFs, to say that Black women are sticking up for each other outside of the internet is just bogus. Now listen, I'm from Boston, so maybe that's not the best direct and accurate representation of the Black community in the United States as a whole or something, but I definitely just know in my experiences, there's a lot of cattiness and negativity among Black women off the internet. And I know in my personal opinion, I've felt very awkward and out of place with a lot of the Black women that I've experienced. There's just this very big level of cattiness, of meanness. And that's not to say every Black woman is catty and mean, but I definitely think just maybe even in being introverted, I think that already rubs people the wrong way, and just the energy is not great. So I don't know, but I wish that Black girl unity did exist off of the internet. I wish that Black girl unity was a real thing, and hopefully one day we can work to make it a real thing. But for now, it is cool on the internet. I've met a lot of cool people through the internet, so definitely not going to negate that. And last but not least, ICE lost track of 1,475 children, which is just devastating and tragic in general. I hate this country. I do. I really do. Man, this podcast is so like controversial. Like for any like conservatives listening to this, if anyone's a conservative, which if you're a conservative, turn my podcast off. I don't want you listening. But for any conservatives are probably having like a heart attack because I'm just tacking off the boxes of things that conservatives hate to hear. But yeah, ICE lost track of 1,475 children. Like, how do you lose children? How do you lose thousands of children, almost 1,500 children? Oh, and a report was released this week that even though the United States only reported 45 people dead from the Puerto Rico earthquake, there was actually 6,000 people that died. 6,000. So somebody's lying here, and it's y'all President Donald Trump. So I'm finished. I am done. That is my hot takes for the week. After one moment, we are going to get to our rant about how y'all don't even love dark skin anyways. Okay, so one of the biggest, most convoluted, asinine, and just straight tomfoolery statements that I've heard this year is that everybody loves dark skin now. That people, I even have had some people, I've even been told that people love dark skin more than they love light skin now. And that if you're light skin, people will make fun of you. And if you're dark skin, people will gas you up. And I just laughed. It was the funniest thing I ever heard in my entire life, because I don't know in what world y'all live in where you think that dark skin is loved, but it is BS. I would say at best, and this is at best, the acceptable dark skin is loved. But other than that, us dark skinned chicks who aren't a size 2, us dark skinned chicks who don't have a huge afro, us dark skinned chicks that don't have racially ambiguous features, us dark skinned chicks that are, just dark skin are not getting no love. Okay, dark skin is still universally looked at as the ugliest and worst thing ever. Dark skin is still universally looked at as shameful. And I still see on the daily beautiful dark skinned girls who are told they look like who are being treated like dogs, who are being told they look like men, who are being told all of these nasty things. And I just don't have the time for it. But at the same time, colorism is not even just about looks. And that's what I want to get at, because colorism runs much more deep than looks. Looks is just the beginning of it. As a dark skinned woman, having dark skin already negates me from opportunities. Having dark skin negates people from checking out my work. I'm sure when people look at this podcast and they see I'm a dark skinned woman, they don't check this shit out. Like, that's tea. They'll look at me and be like, ugh, she ugly, and then keep it moving, And that's just the tea of the day, is that dark-skinned women are losing opportunities. We're losing respect. People aren't taking us seriously. There's still all of this stigma placed around us. I can't tell you how many people think I'm a bitch for no reason. I'm like, what have I ever done to you to produce the idea that I am mean? What have I ever done to produce the idea that I don't like you? The amount of times people are like, can you smile more? Can you smile? Why don't you ever smile? What's your problem? And I'm like, my problem is that you're being annoying. Like, my problem is that you're irritating me by policing my face, because I'm chilling. I'm cool. Like, there's no problem. And it's like, it's not a coincidence that I'm a dark-skinned black woman and that's what people tell me. Like, it's not a coincidence at all. As a dark-skinned woman, you have to be bubbly, happy, this and that, and the next thing, or people automatically assume that you're mad, that you're salty, that you're in a bad mood. And I'm just tired. I'm tired because it's like, I'm just minding my own business. And I think that people don't realize that colorism is a systemic oppression for us. It's a systemic problem. The problem has not gone away. Just because 2 or 3 dark-skinned chicks on social media are getting, a bunch of retweets or reblogs on their pictures, just because there's a few dark-skinned models now, does not mean the systemic problem of colorism is over. Because at the end of the day, as I stated before, the acceptable dark skin is in. Regular dark skinned chicks who look like your everyday girl are not in. And listen, I want to say we're gonna be in, but it's like, it's just not. And it's like, I've definitely realized in my life how many, just the way that I am received because I have dark skin. When you see light skinned girls doing these same things that you're doing, and the reaction and the reception that they're getting versus the reaction and the reception I'm getting, and I know it's because of my skin tone. I know it's because of my complexion, and it's upsetting. It is really, really upsetting. Having dark skin is just something that a lot of people, people think it's not a big deal. Like, this whole colorism, the whole thing with colorism, people think it's not a big deal, that it's not real, that we're exaggerating. But it's like, for years and years and years and years and years, I hated myself. I hated who I was. I was so embarrassed at everything about myself. And even to this day, it's still hard, because even now with having a podcast and things as such, it's like, I still see that when people see that I'm a dark-skinned black woman, that they are like, nope, no thank you, and they keep it moving, and that's just the truth. Like, and I know that on social media, you know, people think I'm ugly. I post a selfie, still lose followers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just the reception of my attitude as if I'm so mean and I'm so nasty. And I'm like, listen, y'all don't like dark skin. In person, y'all do not like dark skin, okay? There's a mosquito in my bedroom and I'm trying to get this motherfucker out of here. Okay? In person though, y'all don't like dark skin. Like, I'm tired. I am tired. Y'all screech to the heavens about how you like dark skin, but in person you're still thirsting over the same 5 light skinned girls that all have that stupid Kylie Jenner look. I'm tired. I am tired. I don't want none of y'all to come into my face and tell me that dark skin is in now, because it is not. It is definitely not. When I only see the same 5 dark skin models on my social media and people think dark skin's in, that's a problem. There's more dark skinned girls out there than Denai, than Lupita. Sorry, but like, I love them and they're beautiful. Trust me when I tell you, they are beautiful. Ducky Thought. These people, like, there is more dark-skinned women out there than those 3 women, than these few women that we see in rotation. When I go on social media and you think that because you reblogged one dark-skinned model who has racially ambiguous features and makeup slayed to the gods, that you are now progressive and that everyone loves dark skin, it's crazy. I mean, it's been the craziest thing in the world to hear that, you know, people love dark skin more than they like light skin, as if 3C hair is not still being idolized. Don't think I don't see on those natural hair pages that you guys still only give love to 3C curls. If a dark skin girl or a 4C girl has, you know, is on the page, her hair's got to be big, probably in a braid out or a twist out, because y'all sure ain't showing 4C hair with shrinkage in it. Hell no. I mean, I'm tired. I am tired because y'all gotta get out of your head that colorism is over. You all got to get out of your head that this is no longer a problem. Y'all gotta get out of your head that because something is posted on social media, which, by the way, like I said, 99% of this social media love is only for social media. Let's see if any of these people are dating a dark-skinned woman. Do you talk to dark-skinned women? Do you have any dark-skinned friends? Any of that? Like, I'm just tired. I'm tired. Are you advocating the same thing when your homeboys or your homegirls are clowning dark-skinned girls and making fun of them and calling them roaches and calling them ugly and things as such? Because the answer for a lot of y'all is probably not. So I'm just saying, this is my rants for the day, but dark skin is not loved. Y'all don't love dark skin anyways. And you know what? In my eyes and in my heart, dark skin is in. But in the eyes of y'all, dark skin's not in. But I want to end this on a good and a positive note. So I want to say, if you are a dark skinned black woman, I love you. I love you. You are beautiful no matter what. I know the world has told us that we are ugly, that there is something wrong with us, that we should stay out of the sun, that we should scrub our skin better, that we should do something with that hair, yada, 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 whatever. I know that the world has told us that our dark skin is not beautiful. I know you're probably used to seeing your light-skinned friends, your light-skinned family members, whoever, get that love, get that idolization. But I just want to tell you, there is nothing wrong with us, okay? Society told us, society planted the idea that there was something wrong with us. And I know it's easier said than done, but I just want you to know there are people that think you're beautiful out there. There are people that will think you're beautiful out there. And I just want you to just wait on it. You know, don't let, you know, those light-skinned girls that everybody likes, listen, people don't even know what they like themselves, you know? They just go off of what the crowd likes. They go off of what's popular on social media. And listen, us girls with dark skin, we have such a unique and beautiful look that it's just different and striking. Honestly, when you have the same light-skinned chick with the same green eyes and the same curly hair, like, that's cute, that's great, you're aesthetically pleasing, but you look like... Never mind, let me keep my mouth shut. But either way, us dark-skinned girls, we have a striking beauty. We're beautiful. Every dark-skinned girl I've ever seen has a different and unique look, and it is stunning and it is gorgeous. So don't let anyone in the world tell you that you're not beautiful or that you're not good enough, because you are. And I know that my words probably don't mean much, but I know in the bottom of my heart I feel this, because there is nothing wrong with having dark skin. Don't let people tell you that you're a bitch or that you have a bad attitude. And guess what? Even if you do have a bad attitude, you're entitled to that. Listen, as a dark-skinned woman and as a woman in general and as a black person in general, listen, we go through a lot of shit on the daily. So listen, even if you do have a bad attitude, that is okay. You know what? You're entitled to that and live in that truth, sis. So that is my podcast for today. Please, please, please make sure to subscribe on your platform of choice. I actually, while doing this podcast, just got the email from Libsyn that they transferred all my podcasts over. So I'm actually probably going to be uploading this on Libsyn. It will be on SoundCloud as well for that. We're still going to work that out. But yes. Definitely check out the podcast on your respective platforms. Please, please, please make sure to follow me on social media, on Tumblr at Princess Failure, failure with 3 E's.tumblr.com. And please don't forget to ask questions for the Q&A on Tumblr. Even if you do not have a Tumblr, I will put my Ask Box link down there so you guys can still ask me. On Twitter at Alex Addison with 1 underscore at the end, on on Snapchat at What Up Alex, that's WHADDUPALEEX, and also my podcast email, the Life of Lex 2018 at gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you guys in the next podcast. Bye.